Yeah, so we got to get into this update news. Zoran Mamdani. I'll tell you, listen, when I first originally saw this, I guess you could say it was a commercial he decided to do for saying, hey, look, guys, I'm going to tax this really rich guy. This is what it's going to look like. I was like, okay, bad idea. But wow, I didn't realize it was going to hit this quick as far as the retaliation, as far as things going. So if you guys recall, you had Zoran Mamdani. He decided to do this idiotic ad commercial talking to New Yorkers, talking about, hey guys, remember when I said I was going to tax the rich? Well, yeah, I'm doing it. See this huge building behind me? A really rich guy lives here, and we're going to tax him because he makes a lot of money, and we want it. And so we're going to go after it and take it because I got to pay for my socialist agenda somehow. And I'm really running out of ideas to kind of figure this out. And so he decided to do this commercial, and now it's a huge backlash he's receiving from it because, you know, it might not be the best idea to go after people who are supplying the city with jobs, bringing economic opportunity, you know, paying taxes into the city, and then you're going to say, yeah, we want to go after that person. Not too bright. And so we got a lot to break down, and let's start here.
Slow clap for the mayor, because he has now jeopardized billions of dollars in investments in his city and thousands of jobs, by the way. So he could make a grinning point in a little video that went viral that made him and his fellow comrades feel good and scratched a certain itch of envy and class warfare, and that could end up having really bad effects for the city. And he didn't just demonize and scapegoat successful people broadly. He called out this one at his house by name, and then expects him to just stay and have no reaction. That's a very bold strategy, and it might blow up in his face once again.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the reality is Mamdani made an idiotic move. I mean, it's par for the course as far as where New York City is headed. For those of you who may not be too familiar with the name Ken Griffin, just know this. His company, Citadel, used to be in Chicago, Illinois, the headquarters. Now it's in Miami, Florida. I wonder why.
You know, Mamdani has long said he doesn't think the rich people are going to leave New York City when he taxes them. We could soon find out, and it could be to the tune of $6 billion or more, Steve.
Yeah, you know, if you go back to that original video he made where he was spotlighting Ken Griffin, I don't know if you guys saw that, but he was staring right in the camera with this maniacal grin on his face. He looked like the Joker in the Batman movie. That's your new mayor, folks, of New York City. But listen, you know, it's people like Ken Griffin, as you just said, who are the people who built the city. By the way, I come from Chicago, as you guys know. He helped build Chicago. It got so bad in Chicago, he just up and left with this 1,000 workers and all the businesses that were left behind, the charities that were left behind, and so on. So you don't kill the goose that lays the golden egg. And that's exactly what Mamdani is doing here. And of course they'll leave. We know that from the evidence of the last 10 years of how many rich people have left, and they're now in West Palm Beach, where he is, by the way.
He's in Miami. The headquarters of Citadel was moved to Miami, and Florida opened their arms wide and happily for Ken Griffin and all of his employees, Guy.
Yeah, and so this is why this makes no sense for Mamdani, because clearly he does not read the room when it comes to businesses deciding to leave these liberal-run cities that are being run into the ground by Democrat leadership. We're seeing it happen. Chicago. I just did a story recently. Seattle. Starbucks now moving to Tennessee. I wonder why. You got another Democrat wacko out there who's deciding that, hey, you know what? We got to figure out more ways to tax these businesses that are in our city, because I got so many grand ideas that I've thought of, but the only problem is I don't have the actual money to get any of this stuff done. And so I guess I should just try to take it from these corporations because they're mean and evil. And listen, we can have the conversation as far as what corporations do that are wrong. That's obviously true, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about the logic of going after the people who bring the jobs, create the economic opportunity for your area, for your city, is probably not the smart thing to do. It's probably best to try to figure some way to work with those people, figure out some way to maybe do something that's going to benefit both of you and not just penalize them because of their success. Not when you live in a system that allows them to pick up, pack up, and move somewhere that is more friendly, that has a lower tax burden, that is more business friendly. So now this looks like it may be backfiring on New York City, on Mamdani. And so for more, let's check this out.
Potential fallout over Mayor Mamdani's Tax the Rich plan. One of his social media videos could be impacting a major redevelopment project in Midtown. Andrew Ramos has this story.
Ran for mayor. I said I was going to tax the rich.
It's this 60-second social media video starring Mayor Zoran Mamdani that may have jeopardized a multi-billion-dollar project. Citadel, one of the world's largest hedge fund firms, is spearheading the massive redevelopment of 350 Park Avenue in Midtown. As part of the mayor's campaign promise to tax the rich, Mamdani took a jab at Citadel founder and CEO Ken Griffin.
This penthouse, which hedge fund CEO Ken Griffin bought for $238 million. This pied-à-terre tax is specifically designed for the richest of the rich.
The city rolled out the ad referencing Governor Hochul's plans for a pied-à-terre tax, which would target secondary homes worth $5 million or more. The Tax the Rich movement has gained steam, with demonstrators filling the lobby of Governor Hochul's Midtown office Thursday. Many were taken into custody. Now, in a company-wide email to Citadel employees obtained by CBS News New York, Chief Operating Officer Gerald Beeson said this about the mayor: "It is shameful that he used Ken's name as the example of those who supposedly aren't carrying their fair share of the burdens associated with New York City's often costly and wasteful spending." Beeson went on to outline contributions by Citadel team members over the years, including $2.3 billion in city and state taxes. Also highlighting that the 350 Park Avenue redevelopment is set to create 6,000 construction jobs and more than 15,000 permanent jobs in Midtown.
Wow, they should leave. 15,000 permanent jobs, 6,000 construction jobs, and the thanks they get is for Mamdani to stand out front of his home and say, hey, you know this guy right here? We should tax him more. He's not doing enough for the city. Give me a break. Because he wants to try to make a point to those idiots outside protesting, talking about tax the rich without understanding exactly what that really looks like. I mean, these people are working in New York City, which means now New York is taxing them income tax. And so he's actually helping New York City more by adding to their revenue, because New York can tax more people, because more people are working in New York City due to those jobs that he's creating. And so this is the miscalculation and the misstep behind this Mamdani's whole agenda, as far as to say, hey, let's get the people who are creating the jobs and providing the economic opportunities for the city. Let's take more from them because they have so much more to take in. And the only logic that he can come up with is, well, it's not fair that they have so much and we don't think they put in enough.
Political analyst J.C. Polanco.
What are you doing? Campaign's over. You're mayor. Act like it. It's just going to push them further to Florida, to Texas, where so many of them are taking their companies.
The problem with Mamdani is that he talks about these things in a vacuum, like cause and effect doesn't exist. He wants all these free government programs. Well, where does that money come from? Who pays for it? Because it's not free no matter how much branding they use to pretend it is. And when you operate like you can just keep taxing the people and the businesses that generate the jobs, growth, and opportunity in a city as if they cannot or will not leave, you end up with what we're seeing in Chicago. Now Chicago has all of these empty office buildings downtown because companies like Ken Griffin's Citadel left the city. But the bill is still due, and who ends up paying that bill? The same people that these liberal politicians claim that they were trying to help with their, of course, bad ideas. Now Chicago residents are looking at record-setting property tax increases under Brandon Johnson. And that's exactly where New York City is headed if they keep going down this road. Now let's take a listen to this.
So, Kevin, here we have the mayor of the city standing outside the home of a private citizen who employs thousands of people in that city, provides a massive tax base, donates millions of dollars to charities of all kinds, and yet he's there basically saying, I don't like you because you have too much money.
Yeah, this debate is pretty interesting. Let's talk about what he did to Ken Griffith, though, because how would he like it if Ken took a video crew outside his house and say, Mamdani lives here. This is where he lives. Think about what that means for personal safety. Just in New York City, to point out where someone lives, vandalism or much worse. I thought that was pretty bad. That's not a good look for him. And I would think he'd want to do a little soul searching on that one. That was terrible. Let's talk about the policy. How bad is that policy? So number one, you've got individuals that spend $5 million and buy pied-à-terres. That employs union workers, buying raw materials, all kinds of employees, whether they're electricians or workers in the interiors of these places, thousands, if not tens of thousands of jobs creating these places. And then once they're created, the people who don't live there pay maintenance and property tax. And they don't take a dime from the city's resources because they're not there. I would argue you'd want more people doing this, not less people. So the policy's really, really stupid.
Yeah, listen, it's just a lazy scapegoat. It really is to sit there and say, well, he has so much money and he could pay more because he's not putting in enough already. Pocket watching, number one. That's number one. You're pocket watching. It's very easy, obviously, to paint rich people who are well off financially as evil, as predators, the ones who are taking advantage of the little guy. That's an extremely easy picture to paint where most people out there, they're not going to care. They're going to sit there and look and say, well, they're rich anyway. I don't care about this person, because they don't think about the domino effects as far as how it can affect the regular lives of everyday people, because those people, in most cases, did not get that way out of anywhere. They got that way because they created opportunities for other people. And through that process of creating opportunities for other people, they were able to accumulate more success. And so while they created jobs for others, they were able to capitalize off that and, yes, create more financial wealth. And to be penalized for that very thing, which we celebrate in this country every single day, there's something that's really wrong with that.
I think if you really read the memo carefully, there's a little bit of a threat in there that maybe they wouldn't necessarily do this. They didn't say it was like done, done, done. And this goes back to why I'm not sure where I land on the tax itself, but because I don't think we know enough about even how the tax is structured. But the broader concept of not New York is open for business and we're thrilled that you're here and happy that you're contributing to the revenue base under this new plan and old plan, but we're not open for business and we don't want you here. And I think that sort of spirit is the distinction that I hope other people, appreciate and maybe have some conversations with the mayor about.
The real problem with Mamdani's entire argument is that he talks about policy like it exists in some fantasy. A fantasy world where action does not have consequences. Everything with him comes back to the same entire message. Tax the rich. Punish the people at the top. Success is bad. And then somehow the money magically covers everything for everybody else. That's his sales pitch. That's his entire brand. But we know real life doesn't work like that. Listen, every decision is going to have a cost. Every law creates a reaction. And every tax changes behavior. Just ask Chicago. Just ask Seattle. This is just reality, especially when you are governing a big city as big and as fragile as New York. But Mamdani keeps talking like this tax is just free money sitting on a table, all nice and ready and waiting for him, when it's not. Every tax comes with a response. Sure, he may very well be able to squeeze some extra revenue out of wealthy second homeowners. Nobody's going to really cry, right? Okay, we get it. Short-term solution. But at the same time, it can scare off investment, drag down property values, and send a very clear message to high earners, business owners, job creators, those people, that New York is becoming openly hostile to them. They're not open for business. And once you do that, do not act surprised when the money moves, the investment dries up, and the policy ends up doing the exact opposite of what Mamdani promised. But that's my thought in the update. Now let me hear from you. Drop your comments down below. I appreciate when you guys chime in. Smash the thumbs up if you enjoyed the content. Subscribe for more. And as always, until next time.